So how much does it actually cost to start an Airbnb once it's all said and done? In today's video, I'm gonna break down the exact cost of starting an Airbnb business. Before we do, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell. Hey everyone, my name is Jorge Contreras and I have built my Airbnb business to over 6 figures a month. So I definitely have learned a thing or two about the cost of launching Airbnbs. Let's get started. It's definitely very challenging to start a business brand new off the ground if you have no idea what the costs associated are. So let's go over it. And here's some things to consider. And I want to give you 2 examples just so you can get some real life examples. Let's imagine you're starting a 2-bedroom apartment versus a 3-2 single family home, because the numbers that I'm about to share with you really depend. Here's the thing. Some people, when they're starting their first Airbnb, they're starting with a bedroom or a studio, which is obviously going to be a much smaller space and a lot less is going to be required. Some people are starting with an apartment, a condo, a townhome, and some people are starting with houses, and others are starting with luxury mansions. And so, as you can see, the costs are going to vary depending on the location, the size of the property, how many bedrooms, bathroom, the square footage, the amenities. So I'm going to do my best here to give you on the lower end how much it could cost, and on the higher end how much it could cost as well. So if you're starting with a smaller property, like I said, like a studio or a small apartment, it could be anywhere around $3,000 to pay just for the furniture. And if you're starting with a bigger and larger property, like a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom, single-family residence, just the furniture alone could cost you about $8,000. Now, when it comes to the appliances, I'm talking a refrigerator, a stove, a microwave, coffee pot, blender, all these things. If you're starting with a smaller unit, it could be anywhere between $1,500, and a larger unit could be anywhere around $5,000 to $6,000 just for appliances. The next item is decor. And decor is super important because that's what's going to make your property as marketable as possible, right? The aesthetics and how it looks. And I have found that decor could be anywhere from $1,000 on the low end, maybe even $500 if it's just like a bedroom or a really small studio. But if you're going with a bigger property, it could be about $2,000 to $3,000 in just decor. Now, when it comes to photography, depending on the amount of pictures, that's what's going to determine the price. Now, typically for my larger 3-bedroom, 2-bath, single-family homes, I like to pay for about 40 to 55 photos. And that's gonna run me anywhere between like $250 and $300. But if I'm launching a studio and all I need is like 14 or 15 pictures, it's gonna run me about $100 to $130. Now, supplies, when you're talking about toilet paper, shampoo, body wash, conditioner, soap, detergent, all these things, right? It's gonna be anywhere between $100 to $200 just for the actual supplies for the short-term rental. I would add in an additional $200 to $500 as well for like linens, towels, and all those things that are obviously going to be super important for your Airbnb. So just right there on the low end, it could be about $5,000 for everything that you're going to pay for. Now, we're not talking about the actual unit for rent, or if you're buying it, we're going to talk about that in a second. But just everything that goes inside the actual unit, right? Furniture, appliances, decor, linen, supplies, all those things. On the low end, again, if it's like a 1 or a 2-bedroom apartment, it could be around the $5,000 range. Now, if you're launching a 4 or 5-bedroom large home, you could be talking about 15 to 20 grand just in all those things alone. The other expense to consider when starting an Airbnb business, especially with the arbitrage model where we are renting properties, getting permission in writing from the owners, and then launching them as a short-term rental, you're gonna pay the first month and the deposit. So let me give you again 2 opposite ends of the spectrum. If you're starting with a smaller, say like a studio, depending on the location, right, that studio might rent for $800 to like $1,500 a month. So let's say it was $1,500. Well, typically in a lease agreement, right, you're paying the first month and the deposit. So if it's $1,500 for the first month, $1,500 for the deposit, then you're talking about $3,000. If you're going for a higher end single family home, for example, in the area that I live in, single family homes usually rent for about $3,500 a month. That means $3,500 for the first month, $3,500 for the deposit. So I'm looking at an additional $7,000 just right there. Now, something to keep in mind is that the deposit is not really an expense because you're gonna get that back at the end of your 12-month lease. Unless you end up renewing the lease after the initial 12 months for an additional year, then you'll get your deposit back when you finally complete and turn in the property however many years after that happens. Now, there's another expense that does come out from the Airbnb, but doesn't necessarily come out of your pocket, and that is a cleaning fee. Now, cleaning fees are typically a fee that the guests actually pay. And I wanted to clarify this because a lot of people will often say, Jorge, well, what about the cleaning fees? Doesn't that eat into your cash flow? And here's the thing, it doesn't. Let's say that somebody is renting my property for $200 a night. And say they stayed there for 3 nights. Well, that means they're paying $600 to rent the actual unit. But let's say that my cleaning fee is $125. They're gonna pay an additional $125 for just the cleaning on top of the $600. So they're really paying me $725, but that $125, although it does go into my bank account, it's gonna flow right out of my bank account into the cleaning crew. So we call that a pass-through cost. So again, it's something that the guests pay. It does not come out directly out of our pocket, so I wouldn't consider that a business expense. By the way, guys, I've learned, like so many of you that watch my videos, I noticed that the amount of views we get for the amount of likes we get just doesn't make sense. So guys, do me a favor and smash that like button so we can help this YouTube algorithm and get these videos in front of more people to help them create financial freedom. Now, here's something to consider. There's actually a lot of properties out there that already come with appliances. It is pretty standard for a refrigerator and a stove to already be included with the rental unit. In fact, most of my properties on the arbitrage side all came with the refrigerator, a stove, a microwave, and a washer and dryer. That obviously kept thousands of dollars in my pocket, only increasing my return on investment. Because my goal anytime I get into a property is the less money I go into it, the better the ROI, the more capital I have to acquire more cash flow producing units. So that's always my goal, is to go in there with as little money out of pocket. Now, personally, for the properties that I have subleased that I've gotten with the arbitrage model, like I said, I've gotten a lot of them that came with the appliances, but I've never had one myself that already came furnished. However, one of my students, Lupita, she actually got a sublease that she's had for about 2 years now, and it had all the appliances and it was completely furnished. She invested about $1,000 into decor, little things here and there to make it look really good. But other than those $1,000 for decor, again, she didn't have to pay for any appliances or any furniture. She just paid the first month, the deposit, got the decor, pictures, and it was ready to go. And I have seen that nowadays there are a lot of properties that maybe have been sold with furniture, and when the landlords put it up for rent, they might mark it up an extra 50 or 25 bucks a month, but they're offering all the furniture. So one of the ways, just a pro tip here, that you can keep your costs low is to look for properties that specifically already have appliances and or furniture. Like I mentioned, it's going to keep more money in your pocket, only increasing your ROI. Another question you may be wondering is, hey Jorge, where should I buy all this furniture and or appliances? My 2 favorite places to buy everything is Amazon and IKEA. Really Amazon for the most part. And obviously with Amazon Prime, everything gets delivered directly to the property. You don't have to worry about needing to rent a U-Haul or renting a truck. Everything can just get directly shipped to the actual property. And now Amazon even has that feature where you can give them access with the digital code to enter the garage and even put all the boxes in the garage for you. So definitely check that out. And then of course, if you ever need to return anything, Amazon makes it super easy. And as you guys know, their prices are very, very competitive compared to some of the other physical stores. Now, what if you don't have the finances, the capital to pay for furniture or appliances? Maybe you have the first month and the deposit, but you say, hey Jorge, I don't have the capital for the furniture and appliances. What should I do? Well, there is a strategy called a balance transfer, and that is where you can actually transfer money from a credit card into a checking account. So let me give you an example. My favorite balance transfer credit card to use is the Bank of America Cash Rewards MasterCard. And I get these checks in the mail all the time. Maybe you've seen them, maybe you've received similar ones, and they say, hey, and they basically look like checks. So all you need to do is call your bank and say, hey, I would like to do a balance transfer for whatever amount, and they will transfer that money directly from your checking account into your credit card. Now, if you don't have a credit card that offers a balance transfer promotion, just go on Google and type Nerd Wallet balance transfer promotion. And there's this guy out there that has a website, nerdwallet.com, and he does all the work for you, and he will show you these credit cards that have an annual fee of $0 a year, and you can do the balance transfer where you will have 0% interest for up to 18 months. Now, I do want to clarify, some credit card companies that offer this only allow you to pay another credit card. That's not what we're trying to do here. Make sure it's the one where you can take the money from the credit card, transfer it to your checking account. So let's say you transferred, $5,000 from your credit card into your checking account, and you utilize those $5,000 to pay for furniture and appliances for a small studio or a 1 or 2 bedroom apartment. Well, then you could take the cash flow, meaning the monthly profit from the Airbnb, to then pay off the credit card. And say you're profiting maybe $1,500 a month of cash flow. Well, guess what? A little over 3 months after, you would pay off that $5K, and you never had to use any of your money. Now that's powerful. So hey guys, that's it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button, turn on the notification bell, and also check out the link in the description down below and check out my free ebook on a guide step-by-step from A to Z on how to start your first Airbnb without owning property. See you on the next one.